She had not paid rent in 3 years. She had not received a utility bill in 3 years. She had not been billed for a single cubic foot of the air she had breathed in 3 years. And she was 68 years old. It is 9 in the evening in late October. A stretch of Sonoran Desert, 2 hours east of Yuma, Arizona. The sun has just dropped behind a row of solar panels that runs the length of 3 football fields. The temperature has fallen from 92 to 68 in less than 40 minutes. A coyote calls from somewhere out in the creosote. A woman is walking from a community kitchen back to a converted shipping container. A small brown dog walks at her heels. She rescued that dog from a county shelter 4 years ago. The same week, she buried her husband. She has just eaten a hot dinner cooked by a man she has come to love at the age of 71. She passes a row of tomato plants growing in raised beds made from salvage pallets. She passes a 14-year-old girl reading a solar inverter data sheet by the light of LED bulbs charged from the desert sun that afternoon. There are 8,000 other people doing what she is doing tonight. 8,000 Americans who, somewhere over the past few years, walked away from a system that decided the cost of being alive in this country was supposed to keep going up forever. Her name is Eleanor Whitmore, and this is how she found her way home. Cleveland, Ohio, late October, 3 in the morning. The Walmart parking lot is almost empty. 3 cars, a red pickup, a white sedan, and a 1996 Buick LeSabre with the engine off and the windows fogged from breathing. Inside the Buick, Eleanor Whitmore is doing math. She has the electric bill spread across her lap. She has a pen. She has a flashlight from the glove compartment. And she has the back of an envelope where the numbers are starting to crowd each other. Social Security, 1,420. Rent, 1,680. Electric, 142. She stops, looks up, stares at the windshield. The math doesn't work. It hasn't worked for 8 months. But tonight somehow it feels different. Tonight it feels like the math is looking back at her. A small brown dog is curled on her lap. The dog's name is Daisy. Daisy is 6 years old. Daisy was supposed to be Harold's dog. Harold picked her out at the county shelter 4 years ago. He said the dog had his eyebrows. He said any dog with his eyebrows was coming home with him. 2 weeks later, Harold was diagnosed. 3 months after that, he was gone. And Daisy stayed. Eleanor folds the bill in half, folds it again, slides it into the glove compartment because she cannot look at it for 1 more second. Her hand brushes against something soft, a flannel work shirt, red and black, frayed at the cuffs. Harold's shirt. She kept it on the passenger seat because some nights the empty seat hurts more than the bill does. Eleanor closes her eyes. She doesn't pray. She used to pray. She prayed for 40 years. But somewhere between the diagnosis and the funeral and the first month of bills arriving with only her name on them, she stopped knowing what to pray for, so she just sits. She sits until the cold creeps in through her boots, until Daisy starts to shiver, until the lights of the Walmart sign flicker once, twice, and steady themselves again. Then she turns the key. The Buick groans, coughs, catches. She drives home, if you can still call it home. The apartment is on the 3rd floor of a brick building on West 117th Street. 42 years she has lived in Cleveland, 26 in this apartment. She and Harold moved in the year their daughter Margot started kindergarten. The kitchen still has the green tile they put down themselves one weekend in 1986. Harold cut his thumb on the second tile. Eleanor wrapped it in a dish towel and made him sit at the table while she finished the row. She remembers everything. The mailbox in the lobby has a letter sticking out of it. White envelope, property management logo in the corner. Eleanor stares at it for a long moment. She has been staring at envelopes like this for 2 years. She takes it upstairs, pours a glass of water, sits at the kitchen table. Daisy curls under her chair. Eleanor opens the envelope, reads again, sets it down. It is not a rent increase. It is a notice of termination of tenancy. The building has been sold to a development group. The development group plans to demolish, to build luxury condos. Construction begins in 90 days. She has 30 days to vacate. 30 days. Eleanor doesn't cry. She thought she would. She thought a moment like this would arrive with weeping. But no, she just sits at the kitchen table, looking at the green tile she and Harold laid in 1986, looking at the chair Harold used to sit in, looking at the wall calendar where she still circles his birthday every year, even though he isn't here to celebrate it. She reaches for the phone. She dials Margot. It rings 4 times. Mom? Hi, sweetheart. Is everything okay? It's almost midnight here. Eleanor had forgotten the time difference. Of course, it was almost midnight in Seattle. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have called so late. Mom, what's wrong? A pause. Eleanor doesn't know how to start. They're tearing down the building. A longer pause. What? The building. They sold it. They're tearing it down. I have 30 days. She hears her daughter exhale. She hears Margot's husband say something in the background. She hears Margot whisper, "Shh, it's my mom." And then a door closing. Mom, come stay with us. Honey, I mean it. We have the guest room. The kids would love it. Margot, you can't be alone right now. Just come for a while until you figure something out. Eleanor closes her eyes. She knows the truth. She has known it for years. Her son-in-law is a kind man, a polite man, a man who married her daughter and helped raise 2 beautiful grandchildren. But there is a particular silence he falls into whenever Eleanor visits. A silence that says, "This is not your house." She loves him for not saying it out loud. She loves him more for the fact that he never will. But she is not going to make her daughter choose. I'm okay, sweetheart. I'm going to figure it out. I just wanted to tell you. Mom, I love you, Margot. Give the kids a kiss for me. Mom, please. I love you. I'll call you in a few days. She hangs up before her daughter can argue. She sits at the table for a long time. Daisy puts her chin on Eleanor's foot. The next morning, Eleanor goes to church. She has been going to the same Methodist church for 40 years. Same pew, same hymnal, same worn carpet leading up to the altar. Pastor Mills knows her by name. The choir director used to babysit Margot. Today, the service is about Ruth, the book of Ruth, the widow who left everything she knew and walked into a strange country because she would rather walk than stay. Eleanor doesn't know if she's listening to the sermon or if the sermon is listening to her. After the service, in the basement, there is coffee. There are folding chairs. There are cookies on a paper plate that someone put out the same way someone has been putting them out for 40 years. Eleanor takes a cookie she doesn't want. A man is standing by the window, tall, stooped, 71 years old, give or take, white beard, watery blue eyes, a flannel shirt, not unlike Harold's, but green instead of red. She has never seen him before. He sees her looking. He smiles, walks over, holds out a paper cup of coffee. You looked like you needed this more than I did. She takes it. Thank you. You're Eleanor Whitmore. How did you know? Pastor Mills mentioned you. Said you've been here 40 years and never missed a Christmas Eve. 41 years. My mistake. He extends his hand. Wendell Krieger. She shakes it. His grip is warmer than she expected. You're new. Newer than you. 6 months. Where did you come from? He looks at her for a moment, decides something. My van. She blinks. Excuse me? My van. I live in my van. I park behind the church on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Pastor Mills lets me use the bathroom and charge my phone. Eleanor doesn't know what to say. She has lived in this neighborhood for 42 years. She has never noticed a van. I was a chef, Wendell says. 43 years. The last 20 at Maison Sablon downtown. You probably remember it. The French place, by the theater. That's the one. Closed in 2022. Owners cashed out, sold the building, gave us all severance equal to about 3 months of rent. I used mine up. So did everyone else. The sous chef is sleeping in his sister's basement in Akron. The pastry chef is on disability. And I am in a van. He says it so calmly, like he is describing the weather. Eleanor finds herself sitting down in a folding chair. Wendell sits down next to her. How do you do it? She says. Do what? Live in a van? He laughs, a small, dry laugh. You don't live in the van, Eleanor. The van is just where you sleep. You live where you go during the day. And where do you go? He reaches into his shirt pocket, pulls out a folded piece of paper, hands it to her. She unfolds it. There is a string of numbers, coordinates. There is a phrase, long-term visitor area. There is a price, $180, 6 months. She looks up at him. What is this? It's federal land, Bureau of Land Management. 2/3 of Arizona is federal public land. Anyone can camp on it. There are designated areas in the Sonoran where you can stay for 6 months at a time. $180. Includes water hookups, includes trash. You're telling me? I'm telling you there is a place where the rent is $30 a month, and no landlord can ever sell the building out from under you, because the building is the sky. Eleanor stares at the paper. She does not say a word. Wendell stands up, puts his coffee cup on the table. I'm leaving in 2 weeks. I have a sister-in-law in Yuma. I'm driving out together with 3 other people from my church group. We're not the first. We won't be the last. He pauses. I'm not telling you to come, Eleanor. I'm telling you it exists. He leaves. She sits in the folding chair for a long time. Daisy waits for her in the car. That night, Eleanor cannot sleep. She lies in the bed she shared with Harold for 38 years. The sheets still smell faintly of the lavender he bought her one Christmas. The mattress still has the depression on the right side where he used to lie. She turns, stares at the ceiling. The radiator clanks. Somewhere downstairs, a baby is crying. She closes her eyes. And then, she is dreaming. She is in a place she has never been. Dry, open, the sky is enormous. The horizon is flatter than any horizon she has ever seen. There is a wind that smells like dust and creosote, though she does not know yet that the smell is creosote. Harold is standing beside her. He is not sick. He is not pale. He is not the man from the last 6 weeks. He is the man from before. The man with the broad shoulders and the flannel shirt and the laugh that filled rooms. He doesn't say anything. He just takes her hand and he points west. She wakes up. The clock says 4:11. The room is dark. She sits up, pushes the blanket back. She looks at the chair by the window where she always lays out tomorrow's clothes. The chair where she put Harold's flannel last night because she likes to see it when she goes to sleep. The flannel is folded, but not the way she folded it. She folded its sleeves out, the way she always does. This shirt is folded sleeves in, the way Harold used to fold it. Eleanor stands up, walks across the room, picks it up, holds it to her face, breathes. She is not crazy. She knows she is not crazy. She knows there is 1,000 explanations. The cat from downstairs, Daisy, a draft, her own hands moving in her sleep. But she also knows. She knows what she knows. She takes the shirt back to bed and lies down with it on her chest. Daisy jumps up and lies down next to her. When she wakes again, the sun is up. She makes coffee. She doesn't drink it. She picks up the phone. She calls a number she has never called before. The Salvation Army thrift store. She tells them she has furniture to donate. A queen bed, a couch, a dining set, 2 armchairs, lamps, books, dishes she has used since 1982. The woman on the phone says they can come Wednesday. Eleanor says Wednesday is fine. She hangs up. She walks to the window. The October sun is bright on the parking lot below. A bus passes. A jogger. A man walking a beagle. The world goes on. She turns away from the window. She begins to pack. She packs only what fits in the Buick. The flannel, 3 changes of clothes, boots, a coat, her wedding photo, her mother's Bible, the thermos Harold gave her on their 25th anniversary, Daisy's bowl, Daisy's bed, a box of books she cannot bring herself to leave behind, a coffee maker, a radio. She gives away everything else, some of it to Goodwill, some of it to the church, some of it to the young couple downstairs who just had their second baby. The wife cries when Eleanor brings down the crib. Eleanor doesn't tell her it was the crib Margot slept in. She just smiles, says it deserves to be useful again. On the morning she leaves, the apartment is empty. She stands in the doorway. She looks at the green tile. She looks at the corner of the kitchen where Harold used to stand making pancakes on Saturdays. She does not say goodbye out loud, but in her heart she says, "Thank you." She closes the door. She walks down 3 flights of stairs with Daisy at her heels. She gets in the Buick. She drives west. The first night, she sleeps in a Walmart parking lot in Indiana. The second night, in a rest stop in Missouri. The third, behind a truck stop in Oklahoma, where the woman at the counter sees her and slips an extra muffin into her bag without saying a word. By the 4th day, she is in the Texas Panhandle. The land is starting to change. The trees are smaller, then sparser, then gone. The fields go yellow, then gold, then a strange pale brown she does not have a name for. The sky stretches, the horizon recedes. She stops in Amarillo. There is a small cemetery near the highway, sun-bleached and quiet. She does not know whose cemetery it is. She just pulls in, walks Daisy along the rows, sits down on a low wall. She takes out a pen and a piece of paper. She writes Harold a letter. She tells him she's sorry it took her so long. She tells him she's scared. She tells him she doesn't know if she's running towards something or away from something. She tells him she still folds his flannel every night. She tells him that yesterday in Oklahoma, she heard a song on the radio he used to whistle, and she had to pull over because she could not see the road. She tells him she loves him. She tells him she is going to try. She does not mail the letter. She tucks it inside the flannel. She drives on. By the fifth evening, she is in Yuma, Arizona. She has never been to Arizona. She has never been west of the Mississippi. She has lived in the same 5 square miles for 42 years. She does not know how to read the highway signs out here. She does not know what BLM means until Wendell explains it again on the phone. She does not know that the road she is on, the one that runs east out of Yuma into nothing, is the road that will change her life. She just follows the coordinates on the folded paper. The sun is setting. The temperature drops as she drives. 92, 85, 78, 70. She rolls down the window. The air smells. Not bad, not sweet, just different, dry, sharp, old, like something the earth has been keeping to itself for 10,000 years. She comes around a long, slow bend, and she sees it. Lights, not a town, not a city, not a ranch, a scatter, a constellation. Soft yellow lights in the dust, low to the ground, like fireflies that have decided to land. She slows down. She slows down more. She stops. She sits in the Buick with her hands on the steering wheel and the engine running, and Daisy looking up at her with her one good ear cocked. For 45 minutes, she does not get out. She has never slept on the ground in her life. She has never been in a desert. She has never been alone in the dark in a place where nobody knew her name. But she has also never been the woman who folded a flannel shirt at 4 in the morning and decided to drive west. She's becoming someone she does not recognize. She's not sure yet whether she's afraid of that woman or grateful to her. She turns off the engine. She opens the door. She steps out. The desert is colder than she expected. The sky is bigger than she expected. The silence is louder than she expected. She walks 30 feet from the car, stops, stands, looks. The horizon is flatter than any horizon she has ever seen. The stars are coming out. A coyote calls. Somewhere far, somewhere not as far as she would like. She stands there for a long time, and for the first time in 3 years. For the first time since the diagnosis. For the first time since the funeral. For the first time since the first month of bills with only her name on them, she feels that nobody is billing her. For the air, she is breathing. She does not cry. She is past crying. She just breathes. A flashlight clicks on in the distance. A shape moves toward her. Tall, slow, familiar. Eleanor? It is Wendell. He has a thermos in one hand and a folding chair in the other. I figured you'd get in around dark. She tries to speak. Cannot. He sees her face, says nothing about it. He just sets up the chair, pours her a cup of coffee from the thermos, hands it to her. The coffee is hot. She wraps her hands around the cup. There are 11 other people, he says. Most of them at the fire. I told them you were coming. They saved you a seat. She nods. She still cannot speak. He doesn't push. After a while, she says very softly, I don't know what I'm doing. Wendell smiles. None of us do, Eleanor. That's the whole point. She lets out a sound that is half laugh, half something else. She drinks the coffee. The next 2 days, the desert teaches Eleanor everything it has to teach a woman who has never been anywhere. She meets Hector Salazar, 66, civil engineer, worked at Salt River Project for 31 years before a layoff at 63 and an eviction at 65. He has hands like a man 20 years younger and eyes like a man 20 years older. He shows her how to dig a small trench around her tent so the rain runs around it instead of through it. She says she does not have a tent. He says she will, and walks away without explanation. She meets Ray Donovan, 54, Marine, 2 tours in Iraq, a jaw that has been broken more than once, a laugh that does not arrive easily but, when it does, is large. He sees Daisy and immediately gets down on the ground to greet her. And Daisy, who normally needs a week to warm up to anyone, walks straight into his arms. Ray says, "Dogs know." Eleanor doesn't ask what they know. She thinks she already does. She meets a 14-year-old girl named Mira Brennan, who is sitting cross-legged on the hood of a Ford Ranger, reading a solar inverter datasheet by flashlight. The girl barely looks up when Eleanor walks past. Her mother, Adelaide, waves apologetically. "She's doing math," Adelaide says. "For what?" "For everyone. We have 9 vehicles charging off one panel. She's recalculating the load." "How old is she?" 14. "How long has she been doing this?" "Since we got here. 3 months." Eleanor looks at the girl. The girl looks up, briefly. "Hi." "Hi." The girl looks back down at her data sheet. Eleanor walks on. She meets Pastor Samuel Hadley, who lost his pulpit in Phoenix because he kept letting homeless families sleep in the church basement. He has a guitar and a prayer for everyone, and a way of asking how you're doing that makes you actually want to answer. She meets Beverly Sandoval, 67, a retired nurse from Tucson, who takes one look at Eleanor and says, "Oh good, another medical one. We've been needing another medical one." Eleanor opens her mouth to say she is not a nurse. Beverly waves her hand. "You worked in a hospital?" 44 years. Medical secretary, Cleveland Clinic." "You know what a vital sign looks like?" "Yes." "You know who to call when you don't know what you're doing?" "I do." "Good. That's most of the job out here. Welcome to the medical team." Eleanor laughs. She does not remember the last time she laughed at being given a job. That night, Eleanor sits by the fire. There are 11 other people, some on logs, some on folding chairs, some on the ground. Daisy is in her lap. The fire is small. The sky is enormous. Nobody speaks for a long time. It is not awkward. It is something else. It is the silence of people who have been spoken at for so many years by so many systems that they have all decided, by accident or by grace, to stop talking for a while. Eventually, Pastor Hadley starts to hum, then to sing. "Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me." Eleanor knows the song. She has known it since she was 5 years old. She used to sing it in the church basement in Cleveland with her mother. She sang it at her father's funeral. She sang it at Harold's. She does not mean to sing now, but her voice opens up. Quiet at first, then steadier. Wendell joins, then Beverly, then Hector, then Ray, who has the worst singing voice of any human being Eleanor has ever heard, but who sings anyway, because that is the kind of man Ray is. The fire pops. A coyote answers from the dark. Somewhere on the second night of her new life, in a desert 2,000 miles from the only home she has ever known, with a small brown dog in her lap and a man named Wendell sitting close enough that their elbows touch, Eleanor Whitmore stops being afraid. She is not happy yet. She is not healed. She is not anything yet. But she is here. The fire burns lower. The voices fade. One by one, people drift back to their vans, their tents, their cars, their improvised homes under the enormous sky. Eleanor stays. She wraps her arms around Daisy. She looks up. The stars are not stars she recognizes. The constellations she learned in fourth grade in Cleveland are not the constellations of the desert. Out here, the sky is older, quieter. She whispers, just for herself, I made it, Harold. I'm here. She does not expect an answer. She does not need one. She has already heard him. Then, a knock on her car window. It is 2 a.m. Eleanor is half asleep in the passenger seat, Daisy on her chest. She has been at Harmony Wells exactly 3 days. The knock is frantic. Eleanor sits up, rolls down the window. A young woman is standing there, maybe 28. Dark hair pulled back, tears on her face. Are you Eleanor? Beverly sent me. Beverly is in town and her phone is dead. I'm Eleanor. My son. He has a fever. It's been climbing for 3 hours. It's at 102 and it won't come down. Please, I don't know what to do. Eleanor is out of the car before she finishes thinking. What's your name? Carmen Delgado. How old is he? 7. Allergies? None. Has he been drinking water? Not for an hour. Vomiting? Once. Take me to him. They run. Matteo is on a cot inside a converted minivan. His cheeks are flushed. His eyes are glassy. He is breathing too fast. Eleanor's hand goes to his forehead. 44 years of medical secretary work. 44 years of typing the words febrile and tachypnea and dehydration into other people's charts. 44 years of standing next to nurses who made it look easy. She is not a nurse. She knows she is not a nurse. But she knows enough to know what she does not know. Carmen, listen to me. Yes, I am going to help you, but I am also going to call for help. We need someone with more training than I have. Where is the nearest medical contact? There's a community phone tree, Beverly, or there's a rural clinic in Yuma. They have a nurse line. Call the nurse line, now. Put it on speaker. While you're calling, I need you to get a clean towel and lukewarm water. Not cold, lukewarm. We are going to wipe his arms and his neck. Carmen dials. Eleanor talks softly to Matteo. Hi, sweetheart. My name is Eleanor. I am going to help your mama take care of you. Can you tell me your name? Matteo. Beautiful name. Matteo, I'm going to put a cool cloth on your forehead. Is that okay? Okay. The nurse line picks up. A woman's voice. Calm, trained. She walks them through it. Lukewarm sponging. Sips of water by teaspoon. Children's acetaminophen if Carmen has any. Watch for stiff neck. Watch for rash. Watch for any change in breathing. Carmen has acetaminophen. They give him the dose. Eleanor sits with him for the next 4 hours. She holds his hand. She sponges his arms. She tells him a story about a dog named Daisy who once ate an entire stick of butter off a kitchen counter and then got the hiccups for 2 days. Matteo laughs, once weakly. By dawn, the fever has broken. Carmen is asleep on the floor with her hand on his ankle. Eleanor sits in a folding chair, watching the sky go from grey to gold. She is exhausted. She is alert. She is, for the first time in 3 years, useful. She walks back to her car. The sun is rising over the Sonoran. Wendell is waiting by her Buick. He has a thermos and 2 cups. Beverly told me, he says. He's okay. You okay? She thinks about it. Yes, she says. Yes, I think I am. He hands her a cup of coffee. She drinks it, standing up, watching the dessert wake. She does not know it yet. But this is the morning that she stops being a woman who is running and starts being a woman who is staying. End of part 1. 6 months pass. 6 months in a desert that does not care what month it is. The community grows. 12 becomes 23. 23 becomes 112. By spring, 600 people are living within a square mile of dust and creosote. Someone paints a sign. Someone hammers it into the ground at the entrance. Harmony Wells. Eleanor does not know who picked the name. She doesn't ask. Some things in the desert do not need explanation. Eleanor has a routine now. She wakes at 5:30. She walks Daisy along the edge of the wash. She makes coffee on a propane burner. She sits in a folding chair and watches the sky go from grey to gold to blue. Then she goes to work. Her clinic is not really a clinic. It is a folding table under the awning of her car. It has a notebook, a blood pressure cuff, a digital thermometer Beverly Sandoval found at a yard sale in Yuma for $2. A stethoscope she does not officially know how to use, but which she has gotten startlingly good at faking. Her job is not to diagnose. Her job is triage. Her job is to listen. Her job is to know when to call Beverly. Her job is to know when to drive someone the 86 miles to the free clinic on the edge of Yuma. People come. A man with a cough. A woman with diabetes who ran out of insulin 3 weeks ago. A boy who fell off a quad and bruised his ribs. A grandmother whose sugar is running high. A father who has not slept in 4 nights because his daughter is in Phoenix and he cannot afford the gas to go see her. Eleanor takes notes, calls Beverly when she needs to, writes referrals when she has to, holds hands when there is nothing else to hold. Some days she sees 20 people. Some days she just sees 1. But she sees them, which is more she has come to understand than the system ever did. She also teaches reading. There is an old yellow school bus parked in the middle of camp. The bus had its last paying passenger in 2014. It now has 3 rows of mismatched chairs, a chalkboard salvaged from a closed Phoenix elementary school, and a hand-painted sign on the side that says, Harmony School, all welcome. 3 children come to Eleanor's reading class. Mateo Delgado is now 7 3/4. He has a tiny scar on his temple from where he fell against a rock during a sandstorm last fall. He still calls Eleanor Senora Ellie, which she does not correct because she likes how it sounds. A girl named Tessa is 6. Her mother fled an abusive husband in Bakersfield with $60 and a Chevy Malibu. Tessa does not yet know letters. Eleanor starts at the beginning. A is for Adelaide, who lives next door. B is for Beverly, who fixes everyone. C is for Carmen, your mama. The 3rd child is a boy named Eugene who is 9 and reads better than Eleanor did at 12. He does not need a teacher. He needs a librarian. Eleanor finds him books. She trades a jar of strawberry preserves at a thrift store in Yuma for a stack of Hardy Boys mysteries from 1968. Eugene reads 3 of them in a week. This is her life now, this and Wendell. Wendell brings her soup. He has not missed a night in 4 months. He cooks in the community kitchen. A retired chef from Cleveland, 65,000 meals into his career, now ladling lentils and rice and whatever the gardens have produced into bowls, he washes himself. He brings 2 bowls to Eleanor's car every evening at sundown. He sets one on the hood. He hands her the other. They eat outside. They do not talk much the first weeks. Then they talk a little. Then they cannot stop. Wendell tells her about his wife. Her name was Iris. She died of breast cancer in 2017. She loved sunflowers. She made a cassoulet that ruined every other cassoulet for him. She used to sing in the shower very badly. He kept her toothbrush in the cup for 2 years. Eleanor tells him about Harold. The 38 years, the diagnosis, the chair he used to sit in, the calendar she still keeps. They do not compare losses. Loss does not work that way. They just sit with each other. One night in March, Wendell brings her soup as usual, sets it on the hood, hands her a bowl, sits down in the second chair he has somewhere acquired, which is now permanently parked next to hers. Eleanor, yes, I have to tell you something. She looks at him. Don't. He blinks. Don't? Don't say anything you can't take back. Not yet. He looks at her for a long moment. Then he laughs, soft, tired, honest. All right. He eats his soup. She eats hers, but under the table. Their pinky fingers find each other, and neither of them moves for a very long time. May arrives. May does not arrive in the desert the way it arrives in Cleveland. May arrives in the desert the way a freight train arrives at a small station. The temperature climbs. 98, 104, 110. By the 3rd week of May, the thermometer hanging outside the kitchen reads 118 degrees at 2 in the afternoon. And Mateo's mother is sitting in the shade because her car's air conditioner is broken and her son cannot stop sweating. The community has built water systems. They have systems, plural, but systems break. On a Tuesday afternoon in late May, the largest cistern, the one Hector Salazar designed himself out of 3 salvaged IBC totes and a network of donated PVC, the one that supplies water to 214 residents. Cracks, not a leak, a crack. A long, ugly fissure that runs the length of the bottom seam and pours 1,400 gallons into the desert in less than 40 minutes. By sundown, the math is grim. Hector calls a community meeting. 300 people gather around the kitchen. Hector stands on a milk crate. He has a clipboard. He is sweating. We have 10 days. A murmur. 10 days at current consumption. Less if we keep using water for the gardens. We can ration, we can stretch it, but we need a long-term solution. Now, a voice from the crowd. Buy water. At what price? Whatever it costs. Hector shakes his head. We don't have the money. And even if we did, the trucks won't come this far for less than $1,000 a delivery. Silence. Then, Ray Donovan. Ray, who does not speak at meetings. Ray steps forward. There's a place outside Phoenix. Surplus equipment, the kind they use in deployment, decommissioned, selling cheap. I know the guy. I served with his brother. How many? 12, maybe 15. How much? 1,800. Total, if I can talk him down. Hector looks at the crowd. We can do 1,800 if everyone chips in. Hands go up, nods. A woman pulls a wad of bills out of her sock. A man in the back starts collecting in a baseball cap. By midnight, they have $2,100. By dawn, Hector and Ray are in Hector's truck heading north on the I-8. Eleanor watches them drive away. Wendell stands beside her. He does not put his arm around her. He just stands close. She leans, very slightly. He doesn't move. That afternoon, the phone rings. Eleanor does not have a phone in the traditional sense. She has a prepaid flip phone that gets reception about 30% of the time, and only if you stand exactly 9 feet south of the kitchen. But the phone rings. She answers. Mom. It is Margot. Eleanor's chest tightens before her brain catches up. Honey. Mom. A pause that goes on too long. Margot, what is it? They found a lump. The world stops. The desert stops. Eleanor's hand grips the phone so hard her knuckles go white. Where? My right breast. They biopsied it. It's stage 2. Oh, sweetheart. They want to start chemo in 8 days. Mom, I'm coming. Mom, wait. Listen. I'm coming, Margot. Mom, I need you to come. It is not a request. It is not even a plea. It is the voice of a 42-year-old woman who has been pretending to be a grown-up for 20 years and who, in this moment, is 6 again. Eleanor closes her eyes. I'm coming. I will be there in 3 days. I will be there. Mom, are you sure? Margot Ann Whitmore, I am your mother. Don't you dare tell me to be sure. Margot laughs, then sobs. They cry on the phone together for a while. When Eleanor hangs up, she is shaking. She walks to the kitchen. Wendell is there, stirring a pot of beans. He sees her face. He sets down the spoon. Eleanor, it's Margot. He waits. Cancer, stage 2. She wants me to come. He nods slowly. Then you go. The cistern, we'll figure out the cistern. The clinic, Beverly will take it. The kids, Eleanor, he puts both his hands on her shoulders. Go, be with your daughter. She looks at him. Her chin trembles. I just got here. You did. I know. I just found this. I just found you. I can't. Eleanor. What? He almost smiles. You are not losing me by going to Seattle. How do you know? Because. He pauses. Because I am not going anywhere. And neither, I suspect, are you. We are not the kind of people who lose things by going where we need to go. She lets out a sound that is half laugh, half sob. She presses her forehead to his chest. He does not pull her close. He just lets her press. That night, under the stars, sitting in their 2 folding chairs. Wendell takes her hand. She lets him. They do not say anything for a very long time. Then he says, very quietly, Go take care of her, Ellie. It is the first time he has called her Ellie. Harold called her Ellie. She does not stop him. She squeezes his hand. She gets in the Buick the next morning. Daisy beside her. 3 changes of clothes. A small bag. She drives north. She drives for 2 days. When she pulls up in front of Margot's house in Seattle, Margot is standing on the porch. Margot is wearing pajamas at 3 in the afternoon. Margot's hair is still her hair. The chemo has not started yet. She looks at her mother. Her mother gets out of the car. They stand on the porch for a long, long time. Then Margot says, in a voice that is not quite her voice, I'm scared, Mom. And Eleanor says, I know, baby. And she opens her arms. Eleanor stays in Seattle for 6 weeks. She drives Margot to chemo. She holds her hair when it falls out in the bathroom on the 3rd Sunday. She makes soups Wendell would approve of. She plays Connect 4 with her grandchildren. She cleans Margot's kitchen at midnight when she can't sleep. She and Margot talk. For the first time in years, they really talk. Margot tells her she has felt guilty for a decade. Guilty for moving across the country. Guilty for not being there enough when her father was dying. Guilty for letting her mother grow old alone. Eleanor tells her she has felt guilty for a decade too. Guilty for needing her. Guilty for being a burden. Guilty for the way she sometimes looked at her son-in-law and saw him calculating how long the visit would last. They cry, they laugh. They watch old home videos on a Saturday night when Margot is too tired to do anything else. Margot says after one of the videos, "Tell me about the dessert, Mom." So Eleanor tells her. She tells her about Wendell, about the soup, about the chair he has now permanently parked next to hers. Margot smiles, a small tired smile. "Dad would be happy for you." Eleanor does not answer at first. Then she says very softly, "I know." The chemo works. It is not over. There will be more rounds. Surgery in the fall. Recovery. But the tumor is shrinking. The doctor uses the words very encouraging, and Margot weeps in her mother's arms. In late June, Margot tells her to go. "Mom, I'm okay. I'm not okay yet, but I'm okay enough. You taught me that." "Margot, go back to him. Go back to your life." "Are you sure?" "Mom, go." Eleanor packs the Buick on a Tuesday. Margot stands on the porch with the grandchildren. The youngest, 8 years old, has made Eleanor a drawing. It is a drawing of a desert. There is a sun. There are cactuses. There is a small brown dog. There is a stick figure with grey hair holding hands with another stick figure with a beard. Eleanor looks at the drawing for a long time. She kisses her grandson on the head. She drives south. She arrives in Harmony Wells on July 6th, late afternoon. Something is wrong. She knows it before she has even parked. There are too many cars, too many strangers. There is a woman in a blazer talking to Pastor Hadley by the kitchen. A blazer. In 112-degree heat. A blazer. Eleanor parks, gets out, walks toward the kitchen. Wendell sees her. His whole face changes. He is across the kitchen in 5 strides. "You're back?" "I'm back." He hugs her, right there, in front of everyone. He does not care. Eleanor doesn't either. She holds him for a long time. Then she pulls back. "Wendell, who is that woman?" He follows her gaze. "Brighton Capital Partners, a representative from New York." "What is she doing here?" "She says she's evaluating risk." Eleanor stares. Risk. Their occupancy rates in Phoenix are down. Their analysts can't figure out why. They sent her. Her name is Rebecca Ashford. She's 27. She has been here 3 days. 3 days. She showed up the day after you left. We told her she could stay. We let her eat with us. What does she want? Wendell looks at her. I don't know yet, Ellie, but I know this. What? There's a state senator, Garrett Kane. He's introducing a bill in 2 months to restrict long-term camping on BLM land, to set a 30-day cap, to make permits non-renewable. Eleanor feels something in her chest go very still. Brighton Capital is funding him. Brighton Capital is funding him. She closes her eyes. She opens them. Wendell, yes, this is not over. No, Ellie, this is just starting. Yes. That night, Eleanor walks across camp to where Rebecca Ashford has been sleeping. The young woman is sitting on a rock outside her rented jeep, tapping at a laptop with a satellite hotspot. She looks up when Eleanor approaches. She is younger than Eleanor expected. She has tired eyes, cheap mascara, a wedding ring she keeps spinning on her finger like it is too tight. Mrs. Whitmore, you know my name. Everyone knows your name. Eleanor sits down on the rock beside her. She does not say anything for a moment. Then, I had a daughter who got sick. I just spent 6 weeks in Seattle. I came back this morning. I am very tired. I am going to ask you a question, and I would like an honest answer. Rebecca looks at her. All right. What are you really doing here? A long silence. Rebecca closes the laptop. I was sent to write a report. Brighton Capital owns 4,000 single-family rental homes in the Phoenix metro area. They've lost 8% occupancy in the last 10 months. They want to know why. And I came here, and I wrote the report. I emailed it last night. What did the report say? A pause. That you are a threat to their business model. Are we? Yes. And what do you think we should do about that? Rebecca looks at the sky. I don't know yet. Rebecca? Yes. Why are you really sitting on a rock at 9 at night with a laptop? A longer silence. Then, I have a 4-year-old daughter at home. My husband works 2 jobs. We rent a townhouse in Hoboken. I make $86,000 a year. We are 6 weeks of unemployment from being where you were a year ago. She pauses. I wrote 2 reports. Eleanor goes still. What? I wrote the official report. The one I was paid to write. I sent it. But I also wrote a second one. The truth. About what is happening here. About what people are. I have it on my personal laptop. What are you going to do with it? Rebecca looks at the sky. I don't know yet. Eleanor looks at her. For a long time. Then she pats the young woman's knee. You're going to know, Rebecca. When the time comes. She stands, walks back to her car. Wendell is waiting. She tells him what was said. He is quiet for a long time. Then he says, Eleanor? Yes. I think we are about to be in a fight. I think we are. Are you ready? She thinks about it for a long time. No, but I am here. 2 weeks later, the second crisis arrives. From inside, a group of 25 young men, mostly in their 20s, mostly recent arrivals, mostly angry in ways that have not yet found a target. They have been camping at the eastern edge of Harmony Wells. They have been hoarding water, fighting with each other, drinking, talking loudly and often about how the community has gotten too soft, too welcoming, too vulnerable. On a Friday night, 3 of them get into a shoving match with Pastor Hadley over a generator. On Saturday, their leader, a man named Cole, marches into the kitchen during dinner. He has a rifle slung over his back. He is not technically threatening anyone, but the rifle is there, and it is making a point. Cole stands in the middle of the kitchen. This place needs to harden up. The kitchen goes silent. We're getting overrun. We're letting in anyone. We need rules. We need enforcement. We need to start saying no. Eleanor is sitting at the corner table with Wendell and Beverly. She does not move. She holds Daisy in her lap. Then, Ray Donovan stands up. Ray walks across the kitchen. He stops 2 feet from Cole. He is not armed. He is half a head shorter. He looks Cole in the eye. Sit down, son. I'm not your son. No, you're not. My brother died in 2008 in Iraq. He was 24. He was a Marine. He was the best man I ever knew. The kitchen is silent. Cole's face flickers. He died so that people like you could stand in a kitchen and have an opinion. He didn't die so you could shut a door on a widow. A pause. Take that rifle off your back. Set it down on the floor. Sit down at that table over there. Eat the food this woman cooked you for free. And then we will talk, like men, about what kind of place this is going to be. Cole stares at him. Cole's hands twitch. Cole's whole future is hanging on this 1 second. He slides the rifle off his back. He sets it down on the floor. He sits. 20 minutes later, Ray is at Cole's table, eating, talking, quiet. He is asking Cole about his mother, about where he grew up, about the layoff that put him in his truck, about the girlfriend who left. By midnight, Cole is crying into his soup. By morning, 20 of his 25 men have agreed to community guidelines. 5 of them leave. Eleanor watches the trucks pull away into the desert. She is standing next to Wendell. The sun is rising. She says quietly, "That could have gone differently." Wendell says just as quietly, "Yes, it could have." A week later, Wendell collapses. He is in the kitchen, stirring a pot of stew. He puts his hand to his chest. He sits down on a milk crate. He says very calmly, "Beverly." That is all. Beverly is across the kitchen in 3 strides. Eleanor is at the clinic table writing in her notebook. She hears something, looks up, sees Beverly running. She drops the pen. Wendell. She does not remember running across the kitchen. She does not remember pushing through the people. She is just there, kneeling beside him, holding his hand, listening to Beverly bark instructions. His face is gray. His lips are blue at the edges. "Wendell, Ellie, don't you dare. Ellie, don't you dare, Wendell Krieger. I just got back. We just..." "Ellie, stop." She stops. He squeezes her hand weakly. "I'm not going anywhere yet. But you need to listen to me right now, because I might not get to say it later. And I'm not letting you not hear it." Eleanor cannot breathe. "What?" "I am not afraid to die, Ellie. I have not been afraid to die since 2017. I made my peace." "Wendell, but what I am afraid of?" "What?" His eyes well up. "Is dying without telling you that you saved my life." The kitchen, the desert, the world goes very still. Eleanor's tears finally come. "You stupid old man." "Yes." "You stupid, stupid old man." "Yes." "Don't you dare die before I get to marry you." He starts to laugh. It hurts. He winces. "That a proposal, Ellie?" "It's a warning, Wendell." The ambulance arrives 40 minutes later. It is a mild heart attack. Wendell is stable by morning. He will recover. Eleanor stays with him in the Yuma hospital for 3 nights. On the 3rd night, sitting beside his bed at 2 in the morning, she looks at his sleeping face and realizes something she has been avoiding for a year. She loves him. She has been afraid to love him. She has been afraid because loving someone again after Harold felt like a betrayal she did not have the strength to commit. She has been afraid because loving someone at 68 felt absurd in a way she could not justify to herself in the language of women her age. She has been afraid because loving someone when you have already lost someone means agreeing in advance to lose them too. But here, in this hospital, in this chair, in this hour, she lets it go. She lets the fear go. She does not say anything out loud. She does not need to. Wendell is asleep. The machines are quiet. She just leans her forehead against his hand and breathes. 3 weeks later, the announcement comes. Senator Garrett Kane, Junior Senator, Tucson District, funded by donors he has never publicly identified, backed by lobbyists from Brighton Capital Partners. Senator Kane will hold a public hearing 6 weeks from today at the Arizona State Capitol about the proposed bill restricting long-term BLM camping. He has invited press. He has invited witnesses. He has specifically, by name, requested that representatives of Harmony Wells appear and answer questions. The community holds an emergency meeting. 600 people pack the area around the kitchen. There are arguments, there are tears, there are people who want to leave, people who want to stay, people who want to fight. Hector speaks about the legal framework. Pastor Hadley speaks about what is right. Ray speaks, briefly, about what is worth standing for. Then a small voice from the middle of the crowd. I want to say something. Heads turn. Eleanor, 68 years old, grey hair pulled back, Daisy in her arms. She has never spoken at a meeting before. She walks to the front. She stands on the milk crate Hector vacated. She does not have notes. She looks at 600 faces. She closes her eyes. She opens them. She speaks. I have run my whole life. A pause. I ran from the pain when my husband died. I ran from Cleveland when I couldn't pay the rent. I ran here because I thought it was the last place left to run. She breathes. But I was wrong. This is not a place to run to. This is a place to stand. And if I have to stand in front of the United States Senate to say it, I will. The kitchen, the desert, the crowd erupts. Mira Brennan, 14 years old, has her phone out. She has been filming the whole thing. By the next morning, the video has 18 million views. 3 nights later, Eleanor and Wendell sit in the 2 folding chairs outside her car. He is still recovering. He moves more slowly. He has a small bottle of pills now that he keeps in his pocket and does not complain about. The stars are enormous. She takes his hand. Wendell, yes, Ellie, in 6 weeks? Yes, I am going to stand in front of a room full of senators. You are? And I am going to be the most ordinary woman in that room. He squeezes her hand. No, Ellie. What? You are going to be the most powerful woman in that room. And you are not going to know it until afterward. She laughs. It catches in her throat. She looks up at the sky. Margot called today from Seattle. How is she? Done with chemo. Final round. Scans are clear. Oh, Ellie. She sounded like herself again. She sounded whole. He squeezes her hand harder. Wendell. Yes. She told me something. What? She told me when she's fully cleared, when her body is ready, they want to try for one more. One more what? One more baby. He goes still. Ellie. I know. That's down the road. I know. They told me it'll be at least 2 years. Probably more. The doctors, they want her body to recover. But she said it like a promise. To herself. To Dad. He's quiet for a long time. Then he says, hold on to that, Ellie. Hold on to that on the days the desert feels too big. She does. End of part 2. 6 weeks pass. 6 weeks of preparation that does not feel like preparation. 6 weeks of sleeping badly. 6 weeks of waking at 3 in the morning and walking out into the desert with Daisy. just to feel something solid under her boots. Eleanor practices. She practices in front of Wendell. She practices in front of Wendell, front of Wendell. She practices in front of Pastor Hadley. She practices in front of Matteo, who sits on a crate with his chin in his hands and listens with the focused attention only an 8-year-old can give. But she keeps stopping. She keeps losing the words because every time she tries to start with a number, every time she tries to start with a fact, every time she tries to sound like the kind of woman who deserves to stand in front of senators, she loses herself. Wendell sits her down on the folding chair one evening and says, "Ellie?" "Yes." "Stop trying to be impressive." "What?" "Stop trying." They have heard impressive. Their whole lives are impressive. What they have not heard, what they cannot hear, is true. "Wendell, just tell them what happened to you." She stares at him. "That's all? That's all? That's not enough." "Ellie." "What?" "That has always been enough." She does not believe him. She wants to, but she does not. Then, a woman arrives at Harmony Wells. Late August, a Tuesday, a small white Honda pulls in at sunset and parks crooked. A woman gets out, mid-30s, hair in a braid, a press lanyard around her neck, a dust-covered duffel bag. Her name is Sarah Lindquist. She is a reporter for a small public radio station out of Flagstaff. She has been driving for 8 hours. She is here to do a story. Eleanor meets her by the kitchen. Sarah is not what Eleanor expected. Sarah is crying. Quietly, the way a person cries who has been holding it in since the city limits. "I'm sorry," Sarah says. "I'm sorry, What's your name, sweetheart?" "Sarah." "Sit down, Sarah." "I." "Sit." Sarah sits. Eleanor brings her water. Sarah takes a long drink. "I drove past 3 exits before I could turn around. I almost didn't come." "Why?" "Because I don't think I'm a reporter anymore. I don't think I have been for a while. I think I am someone who used to be a reporter and is now just a person." Eleanor sits down across from her. "Tell me, Sarah." So Sarah tells her. Sarah was a lawyer first, a real estate attorney, Phoenix, 3 years out of law school, big firm, big paycheck, big files. She specialized in eviction enforcement. She filed several hundred evictions in her last year alone, by her own hand, her own signature. She quit 2 days after a woman, 61 years old, hanged herself in a Mesa apartment Sarah had filed paperwork on. Sarah went to journalism school, started over, took the public radio job because she thought finally she could tell the truth. "And now," Sarah says, "and now. My editor told me this morning he killed the story." "Why?" He said it makes the housing crisis sound solvable. And he said the network does not want a story that makes it sound solvable, because solvable is not the angle. Eleanor looks at her for a long time. Then, "Sarah." "Yes. What do you want?" "I want to write the truth and have someone publish it." "That is not what I asked." A pause. Sarah looks at her hands. "I want to live somewhere I am not ashamed of." Eleanor reaches across the table, takes Sarah's hands. "You came to the right place." Sarah stays for 2 days. She interviews everyone. She interviews Hector and Ray and Pastor Hadley and Beverly. She interviews Adelaide and Mira. She interviews Carmen Delgado. She interviews Mateo. The boy sits in front of her on a milk crate. "How long have you lived here, Mateo?" "A long time." "How long is a long time?" He thinks. "Since I was scared all the time." "And now?" "Now I'm not. Sarah's eyes are full. What changed? Matteo thinks. My mom doesn't cry anymore. We have a garden. I have a friend named Beto. I am not scared anymore. Sarah cannot speak. Matteo continues. And Senora Ellie helped my mom save me. When I was sick, she sat with me all night. She is my second grandma. Sarah turns off her recorder. She just sits with him for a while. That night, Sarah comes to Eleanor's car. She has her laptop. She has been writing for 6 hours. Eleanor, Sarah, I am not going back to Flagstaff. No, I am quitting. I quit 20 minutes ago by email. All right. And I am moving here. All right. And what? Eleanor, I have not told you something. What is it? I told you I was a real estate attorney. I did not tell you the rest. What is the rest? I know BLM law. I know federal land law. I know Arizona state property law. I have read every line of Senator Kane's bill, and I have read it 3 times, and there are 11 specific places where it conflicts with existing federal statute. I have a legal theory for why the long-term occupation of LTVA permits, when properly rotated and paid, falls within a statutory gray zone that the senator is trying to close because Brighton Capital paid him to. Eleanor goes still. Sarah, I want to help you. Sarah, Eleanor, let me help you. Eleanor reaches out, takes the younger woman's hand. Welcome home, Sarah. The day of the hearing arrives. Phoenix, the Arizona state capital, late August, 106 degrees on the steps. A bus full of Harmony Wells residents pulls up at 8 in the morning. The bus is a converted school bus. Mira Brennan and 3 of the older boys spent 2 weeks rebuilding it for the trip. They put a new sign on the side, Harmony Wells. People file off. Wendell, Hector, Pastor Hadley, Beverly, Sarah, Ray, Adelaide, Mira, 40 others. Eleanor steps off last. She is wearing the only dress she owns, navy blue, knee-length, 40 years old, bought for a cousin's wedding in 1986. In her purse, folded carefully, is Harold's flannel. She did not wear it. She did not need to. She just brought it, like a witness. She has Harold's small wooden cross on a chain around her neck. Daisy is at home with Carmen. Eleanor's hands are shaking. Wendell is at her side. He wears a clean white shirt. He is too thin. His pills are in his pocket, but his back is straight. He takes her hand. Ellie, yes. You are not alone in there. I know. Just tell them what happened to you. She nods. She walks up the steps. The hearing room is packed. Press in the back. Cameras. Reporters from Phoenix, Tucson, Flagstaff. 2 from national outlets. A Reuters stringer. A woman from the Associated Press. The senators sit on the dais. 9 of them. Senator Garrett Kane in the center. He is handsome in a polished, expensive way. He has a tan. He has cufflinks. He has a smile that does not reach his eyes. Eleanor sits in the gallery with Wendell on one side, Sarah on the other. The hearing begins. The bill is read into the record. Senator Kane gives an opening statement. He speaks of unregulated encampments, of public health concerns, of the dignity of public lands, of the need for sensible reform. He says the words sensible reform like he is unwrapping a candy. Then he calls his witnesses. A representative from a chamber of commerce. A spokesman from a public lands advocacy group whose funding nobody publicly knows. a medical officer from a county health department who has clearly been told what to say. 3 hours pass. Then, Senator Kane looks down at his list. He smiles. The committee now calls Mrs. Eleanor Whitmore of Harmony Wells, Arizona. Eleanor stands. Her knees almost give. Wendell squeezes her hand. She walks to the witness table. She sits down. The microphone is a foot from her face. The lights are bright. A senator on the left is already looking at her watch. Senator Kane leans forward. Mrs. Whitmore, thank you for being here. Yes. Please state your name and address for the record. Eleanor Margaret Whitmore. And your address. A pause. She thinks. She almost laughs. Sir? Yes. I do not have one. There is a small ripple in the room. You don't have an address. I have a coordinate on Bureau of Land Management Long-Term Visitor Area 8, east of Yuma. I have lived there for 14 months. I am 68 years old. I have paid taxes for 44 years. I have voted in every election since 1976. I do not have a mailing address, but I have a country. The senator on the left stops looking at her watch. Senator Kane recovers his smile. Mrs. Whitmore, the committee has invited you here to discuss the impact of long-term occupation on federal public lands. We have heard testimony today about public health, about ecological damage, about quality of life concerns. What is your response? Eleanor closes her eyes. She opens them. She looks at him. Then she looks past him. She looks at the camera. She does not have notes. She does not have a plan. She just opens her mouth. I am 68 years old. I have paid taxes for 44 years. I worked at the Cleveland Clinic as a medical secretary. I scheduled appointments. I greeted patients. I wrote down what hurt. I had 13 bosses in those 44 years, and not one of them ever asked me my opinion about anything. A pause. My husband Harold died of lung cancer 3 years ago. He worked in a factory for 31 years. He smoked because everyone in his factory smoked. He stopped in 1989. The cancer didn't care. After he died, the rent on our apartment went from $875 a month to $1,680 a month in 2 years. I made $1,420 a month. You can do that math. I did, on the back of an electric bill, at 3 in the morning, in a Walmart parking lot. The room is silent. When I called the property management company, they told me to budget better. When I called the county housing assistant's office, they told me there was a 4-year wait list. When I called my daughter, who lives in Seattle, she asked me to come stay with her. And I did not go, because my daughter has a husband who is a kind man, but who would never say to my face the thing that his silence said every time I visited. That this was not my house. She pauses. I came to the desert because a man at my church gave me a piece of paper with a coordinate on it. He said the rent was $30 a month. He said no landlord could ever sell the building out from under me, because the building was the sky. I drove west for 4 days. I cried in Amarillo. I almost turned back in El Paso. I didn't, because I had nothing to turn back to. I arrived at sundown on a Tuesday, and on my 3rd night, a young woman knocked on my car door at 2 in the morning because her 7-year-old son had a fever that had been climbing for hours, and there was no doctor. I am not a nurse. I want that on the record. But I had spent 44 years next to nurses. And I knew enough to call the right number. And I knew enough to sit with that mother. And I knew enough to put a cool cloth on a child's forehead and tell him a story about a dog until the fever broke at dawn. His mother, whose name is Carmen, hugged me and cried and did not let go for a long time. And I realized that I had been useful for the first time in 3 years, that I had been a person with a thing to give, with a place where my life mattered. And the system, the very expensive, very well-funded, very polite system, that had been telling me for 3 years to budget better, had never asked me what I could do, had never asked me who I was, had only asked me what I could pay. She stops. She takes a breath. Senator Kane. Yes, Mrs. Whitmore. I have a question for you, if you will permit me. Of course. I have paid taxes for 44 years. I worked. I raised a daughter. I buried a husband. I never asked anyone for a thing I had not earned. When my husband died, the system told me to plan better. When I could not pay rent, the system told me to work harder. When I came to the desert, the system told me I did not belong there. Senator, I want to ask you, where do I belong? Where exactly in the country I have paid taxes to for 44 years? Am I supposed to be? The room is silent. Senator Kane opens his mouth. He closes it. He shuffles his papers. He says, Mrs. Whitmore, that is. He does not finish the sentence. Eleanor leans forward. Senator, this bill of yours will not solve any of the problems you say it will solve. It will only move me from the desert to somewhere you cannot see me. And I am here today to tell you that I do not consent to being moved anymore. She sits back. She folds her hands. The room erupts. Press are standing. Cameras are flashing. 2 senators are leaning over to each other and whispering. The chairman is banging a gavel. Senator Kane is pale. The chairman calls a recess. Eleanor stands. She walks back to the gallery. Wendell stands, takes her hand, does not let go. Sarah is crying. Hector is grinning. Ray Donovan, the Marine, is crying. He does not wipe his eyes. The recess lasts 40 minutes. When the hearing resumes, the chairman announces the committee will hear one final witness. A name is read into the record. Rebecca Ashford. Eleanor's head snaps up. A young woman in a charcoal suit walks to the witness table. It is the same woman. The mascara, the wedding ring. She has a folder in her hand. She sits down. She does not look at Senator Kane. She looks at the camera. My name is Rebecca Ashford. Until 2 months ago, I was a senior research associate at Brighton Capital Partners, headquartered in Manhattan. A murmur. I was assigned in May of this year to investigate the cause of declining residential rental occupancy in Brighton Capital's Phoenix Metro portfolio. My investigation led me to a community in the Sonoran Desert called Harmony Wells. I spent 3 days there. I wrote a report. At the request of senior management, that report concluded that Harmony Wells represented a long-term threat to residential rental valuation across the southwestern United States. I subsequently learned that Brighton Capital Partners, through a network of 3 intermediary lobbying firms, has been the principal financial sponsor of Senator Garrett Kane's re-election campaign, Senator Kane's Political Action Committee, and Senator Kane's personal investment fund. The room detonates, cameras, shouting. A senator slaps the desk. Furthermore, Rebecca raises her voice. Just enough. I am aware. by virtue of my former position. That Brighton capital has prepared similar legislation for introduction in Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana. I have copies of the draft language. I have copies of the funding flows. I have copies of the internal communications. She lifts the folder. I am submitting them to this committee as of this moment, and I am submitting them. She turns slightly to the Department of Justice, effective today. Senator Kane stands up. Senator Kane sits down. Senator Kane does not look at the cameras. He stares at the desk in front of him. The hearing is adjourned within 12 minutes. 2 days later, the committee votes 14 to 9. The bill does not advance. Senator Kane is asked by his own party leadership to step away from his committee chairmanship pending an internal review. The Department of Justice opens an investigation into Brighton Capital Partners. Sarah Lindquist files her story with a national outlet. 11 outlets pick it up within 24 hours. Eleanor goes home. 6 months pass. 6 months in which the world stays roughly upright. Harmony Wells holds. The legal questions are not over. They will not be over for years. But the immediate threat is gone. And in those months, a few small things happen that, taken together, are not small at all. Mira Brennan gets her acceptance letter from MIT, full scholarship. Adelaide cries in front of the kitchen. Mira does not cry. Mira sits down on a milk crate that night and looks at the letter for a long time. She defers for 1 year. Mom, I want to spend a year here, teaching the kids, helping with the RA. Then I'll go, and I'll come back every summer, and I'll bring everything I learn home. Adelaide hugs her daughter for a very long time. Ray Donovan starts a veterans group. Sunday nights, around a fire, no agenda, just men and occasionally women, sitting and talking about things they do not talk about anywhere else. He works with the VA on his medications. He has bad nights. He has fewer of them. He tells Eleanor one evening while helping her carry water, Ellie, yes, healing doesn't come from running from the pain. It comes from finding the people who understand it. That's a good line, Ray. You can have it. I'll borrow it. Sarah Lindquist marries a former public school teacher named David in late January. The whole community comes. Pastor Hadley officiates. Daisy sits at Sarah's feet for the entire ceremony. Eleanor holds Wendell's hand and weeps. Wendell whispers in her ear, "That's gonna be us." She elbows him. He grins. In early February, on a Tuesday, at sundown, Eleanor is sitting outside her car, in her folding chair. Wendell walks out. He is holding something behind his back. Eleanor squints. "What are you up to?" "Nothing." Wendell Krieger. "What? What is behind your back?" "Nothing." Wendell. He sighs. He brings out his hand. It is a flower, a small, yellow, desert flower, the kind that grows in February when the rains have been kind. Eleanor looks at the flower. She looks at him. Her chin starts to tremble. "Don't you dare." "I dare." Wendell. "Ellie." He gets down. Slowly. Because his knees are not what they used to be. And his heart is not what it used to be. And he has to use the chair to steady himself. But he gets down. On one knee, in the dust of the Sonoran Desert, at sundown, in February, in front of a 69-year-old woman named Eleanor. "Ellie." "Wendell." "I cannot give you a house." "I know." "I cannot give you safety." "I know." I cannot promise you another 20 years, or 10, or 5. Wendell, I can only give you the rest of my life, whatever there is of it. Wendell, will you marry me, Ellie? She cannot speak. She cries. She nods. She nods. She nods. She nods. He laughs. He cries. He stands up, slowly, painfully, joyfully. He puts the flower in her hand. He pulls her into him. He holds her until the stars come out. The wedding is in late March. The whole community comes. Margot flies in from Seattle. Her hair is short now, just growing back. She is healthy. She is more than healthy. She is herself again. She brings her 2 children. She does not bring a baby. There is no baby yet. There may not be one for a long time. The doctors are careful. Her body is careful. Her family is careful. But Margot stands in the front row at her mother's wedding with one hand resting on her stomach. The way a woman rests her hand on a future she has decided to hope for. Eleanor sees the gesture. Eleanor knows. Eleanor does not need it to be soon. It is enough that her daughter is alive to hope. Pastor Hadley officiates. Mira plays guitar. She has been learning. She is not good, but she is improving. Eleanor wears a white sundress. Tucked into the bouquet, folded into a small square, is one piece of red and black flannel. She cut it off the cuff of Harold's shirt the night before. She is going to keep the rest. But this piece is going with her down the aisle. She walks with no one to give her away, because she gave herself. When Pastor Hadley says, "You may kiss the bride," Wendell kisses her, gently, slowly, the way a man kisses a woman he intends to be kissing for whatever years he has left. The community claps. Daisy barks once. Mateo, 8 years old now, throws yellow dessert flowers in the air. Margot weeps. That night, Eleanor and Wendell sit outside the small container house they have built together. They built it with help from Hector, from Ray, from a dozen others. It has a green door. It has a window facing east. It has a garden of 3 tomato plants. The sun is setting. Daisy sleeps at their feet. Wendell takes her hand. He does not say anything. He doesn't have to. Eleanor looks out at the desert. The desert that 2 years ago was nothing she had ever imagined. The desert that is now the only home she has. She thinks about the green tile in Cleveland. She thinks about the chair Harold used to sit in. She thinks about the calendar on the wall. And she does not feel like she has left him behind. She feels like she has carried him with her to a place where she can finally put him down. Not because she loved him less. Because she has finally loved herself enough. She whispers, just for herself, "Harold, you were right. I am not the kind of woman who runs. I am the kind of woman who finds her way home. And I have." The desert goes on forever. Above them, the stars are enormous. Below them, a small brown dog sleeps. Beside her, a man named Wendell holds her hand. In her arms, a flannel cuff, red and black, pressed against her heart. There are 650,000 homeless Americans tonight. There are 245 million acres of public land, waiting. The math is not complicated. The desert is waiting. The people already know. The country just needs to remember. Eleanor closes her eyes. She breathes. She is home. End.